I believe there's a hero in all of us.
You have great powers, only some of which you have as yet discovered.
I'm a superhero,
a real-life superhero.
The world needs extraordinary. We will make you a superhero.
Are you ready to become a hero?
Initiating surprise in 3.
This
2
is
1.
The Real Brian Show.
Hello. It's time to have some fun. Are you ready? I'm excited. We've got our thoughts on the new Doctor Strange movie and Star Trek Strange New Worlds coming up in just a little bit. We've got some really good stories to share as well with you. Oh my gosh, so much fun coming. Grab your favorite drink. Let's nerd out together. End the week right. Have some fun. And by the way, no agenda, no format. Let's hit record and let's see what happens.
Hello. I've been waiting for you three.
Who are you?
Yeah, who are you?
I am the architect. But please, call me Larry.
Hey, Larry. Larry.
I created The Matrix and several popular video games, including Cubert and Dig Dug.
Remember that?
Yeah.
I didn't create Frogger, but I came up with the name for it. Can you believe they wanted to call it Highway Crossing Frog?
That is so lame.
I know. It's the lamest thing I've ever heard of.
Let's rock it!
Highway Crossing Frog, yep.
That is so lame. I know.
I played the crap out of that when I was a little kid, dude.
I loved Highway Crossing Frog. And
I did
Cubert.
too.
I never played Dig Dug though.
I never played Dig Dug. I played a lot of Pitfall. Remember Pitfall on the Atari?
Yeah. I never played that much either, but I was a big Centipede player, by the way. So it was like Centipede and Mousetrap from ColecoVision. My grandparents had a ColecoVision.
They had a Mousetrap game in ColecoVision?
Oh, it was so fun too. And I that's awesome. The only thing, so we had a Commodore 64, I think, when I was a kid, because that was like the only thing, that was allowed. And all my friends had like the Ataris and the Nintendo and everything else. And I wasn't allowed to have that, So I got to play all the other games and all, but yeah, man, Highway Crossing Frog it was Highway Crossing Frog, and I'm just going to call it that. I'm not going to call it Frogger.
Yeah, let's just call it that from now on.
Highway Crossing. People are like, what the heck is Highway Crossing Frog? Highway Crossing Frog and Centipede were my two favorites on the Commodore 64. Pretty good times, but did you like that? That's the version of The Matrix that I remember, by the way. That was when I saw it in the theater. That was a theatrical version, by the way, and then when they released it to digital, they changed it, and it was some other
more serious dude. Yeah, I was a very big fan of that. I like the goofy version better. Yeah.
Yeah. There's so many. I am the architect, but you may call me Larry. Larry! All right,
hey.
Welcome to the Real Brian Show. Thank you seriously for joining us. Have you checked out all of the other videos and episodes and everything else going on? If you've not already listened to that episode, the interview with Vincent Puglisi, which came out, let's see, that's been, last week already.
It was just last week. That's right.
Yeah, last Monday. If you've not checked it out already, great interview, good conversation, check it out. And of course, I'm curious to know, though, if you've subscribed to the YouTube channel or not. Whether or not you watch this Friday episode or listen to it doesn't matter. Have you subscribed and made sure to hit that bell for notifications? Because here's the deal. We've got reviews, like we talked about the Picard Season 2 wrap-up this week. We've done all kinds of stuff, by the way, and this next week, I think we're going to talk about Star Trek Strange New Worlds, because that just came out, so we have to talk about that.
Oh, yeah.
We've got to talk about Halo when that wraps. We've got so many things, coming up with movies and TV shows. We want to talk about the new Top Gun Maverick movie. So don't miss those. And they're only on the YouTube channel, by the way. And same with those product reviews. I mean, we've got the lightsaber, the loft mat. I just did 2 mouse reviews this week, by the way. Like mice, these guys.
Yeah, not the squeaky ones, but the squeaky ones, yeah.
Or the ones from Babe that are like, send me free, right? No, wait, what were they? The blue moon. That one. Yeah, those guys, dude. Gosh, nice. I can't get as high as I used to.
That was pretty good.
Yeah, the vibrato, oh, man, I got to practice. I'm sorry.
Yeah, do that in front of the mirror after the show.
Yeah, I'm mad at myself right now. Are you disappointed, Captain, like I am?
No, I'm high on life right now. Everything's great.
Okay, good.
So much good things going on right now. So
good. And what also is good is subscribe to the YouTube channel. I mean, please, even if you don't watch it regularly, please just subscribe and give us a like and let us know what you think of seeing us in person, because it is kind of interesting.
And we're so good looking too. I mean,
after all the Pilates you've been doing.
Put it on mute and just gaze into our eyes. I mean, honestly.
Yeah, just like, wow.
Oh, I went
Brian's
down another
eyes
pound
are
and a
so
half,
dreamy.
Brian.
Captain's beard. Just want to stroke it.
It's clean and got some gray in it.
Yeah,
I went down another pound and a half.
Dude, congrats, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So I was plateaued for a while. Then I started to go down again. So
very common.
Yeah.
Yeah, weight plateaus happen. In fact, I think I learned about that the first time when I was reading 4 Hour Body from Tim Ferriss, and he was saying when you're trying to actually lose fat, you will eventually plateau, and that's normal. It's normal for everyone. And so then he talks about some ways to get over it. So when you said that and you were really disappointed, I'm like, no, it's okay, man. You got this. But then you just went over the hump. So you're going down.
I hope so. At least I'm over a hump. We'll see if I plateau again. But I'm not discouraged. I was discouraged for a little bit, but I never for once thought I'm just gonna screw this whole program I'm on and no more Pilates. That never crossed my mind. Regardless of this weight plateau that I hit over the last few weeks, it doesn't really matter. I'm still getting in better shape. I'm eating better. I'm eating better than I ever have in my life. I'm exercising better than I ever have in my life. I feel really good. So
good, man.
Yeah.
Isn't this exciting? It's like, you're paying attention to what you're eating. You're feeling good. You're going to Pilates. You're getting stronger and functionally healthier too, which is nice.
Yeah.
I mean, and I've been honestly on that same, it's not a kick. Like I'm trying to make it a lifestyle. I feel like I fell off the wagon, a few years ago with when COVID hit. It's like I was doing so well. And I keep talking about this. In March of 2020, I was at like close to optimal weight, feeling great. Everything shut down, gained a ton back, and just so losing it all is the hardest part, right? And I'm getting there, but it's like I'm trying to do it slowly so that it's not this unsustainable thing. But I'm feeling better too, and I'm biking more, and now that it's getting nicer finally. So booyah.
Nice and hot. Yeah.
Yeah. I hope it's hard too, because like we went from cold, windy, hot. And I was like,
yep, we skipped spring this year. It happens sometimes. It's not a lot. It's not unusual, but it does happen. Yeah.
It's frustrating. I think I hate it more when they skip fall, when it goes from like hot snow. I like it when you go cool down, beautiful fall leaves. With spring, at least the flowers still come out, the leaves still come out. What's funny is most of our trees are still bare. It's the middle of May almost.
Really?
I mean, this is crazy.
Yeah.
We're about 2 weeks late this year.
Ours exploded in Iowa just the last 2 weeks. So everything's leafed out now. So
that's nice. I know. It's so funny, that spring starts in March 21st, or 22nd or 20th, depending on whatever. Well, it's spring is like in full bloom 2 full months later here in Colorado. And usually it's about a month and a half, but this year it'll be 2 full months. It's just not cool, bro.
Cool.
Oh, well. Dude, but you've got something else exciting going on this week.
Yeah, this week is my 10-year anniversary with my wife. So we're celebrating. We're celebrating on the down low. I wanted to take her to Chicago and do a day trip and, stay in a nice hotel and go out to some nice restaurants or whatever. But she didn't want that. She didn't want to leave the house for a couple of days, leave the kittens behind. So we're just going to go to a nice restaurant here in Des Moines and nice. It'll be fun. So that's 10-year awesome, anniversary. Dude. So, and
congratulations.
Going on 50.
Yeah. I love it. I love it, man. Congratulations and happy anniversary, by the way, too. And,
thank you.
My birthday is next Thursday. That's May 19th, by the way. Which, remembering birthdays is hard. I'm usually very terrible at it.
I've known you for how many years now, Brian? And I still don't remember that your birthday is May 19th. So
I know, and I would forget people's birthdays all the time. Actually, it was the craziest thing. Then I realized, well, at least in the iPhone anyway, if you go into the contacts and under, like if you're in my contacts.
True. That's true.
So if you go in there, there's a little section for birthday and you just enter in the birthday and then it pops up in your calendar every single year. So it's real. I started doing that. It's like, as soon as I learn somebody's birthday, it's in their contact and instantly I'll remember it every year. So it's awesome. I know. It's like, get your phone and make it happen. Cause I don't remember. I never remember. It's fun.
I'm going to do it. Keep talking. I'm going to do it. Go ahead.
Well, speaking of birthdays, I want to do a huge shout out to 7BlueSeven, by the way. Thank you. 7, I'm going to keep the address and everything out of, because we don't want everybody to know where 7 lives. He sent me this package actually and said, please check it out. And so I thought, okay, cool. And I got it. I opened it, by the way, a little bit and I started to pull it out and wait, let's do this on the show. This will be fun. So 7, thank you. I wanted to pull everything out. And again, I don't want to have the address and everything for all to see. Throw that, just throw it down. All right. So first of all, let's see. We've got Oh, okay. This is for, here we go. Trust your ability. I love that. Thank you. This should go up, actually, somewhere where people can see it.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that.
Frame that sucker.
Yeah, I'm gonna put that up because it's you know what? That's a good reminder right now because Captain, I don't know, you and I have had conversations about this, but I've had an issue with kind of believing in what I have to offer. And a lot of it's just because you don't hear the affirmation. And so you wonder, like,
true. Yeah.
Am I making a difference? Am I worth it? I mean, I ask that question a lot and I don't know. Maybe it's because I put myself out there too much. I don't know. But anyway, there you go. And he sent me a book here, Hollywood Heroes. Okay. Thank you. I've never heard of this before, but so hold on. He wrote something inside. Oh, look at this. Look at this little note here. I won't read all of it, but he says, thank you for being a positive influence in this crazy world and for encouraging people to release their inner superheroes.
Nice.
And more, but I'll stop there.
That's great.
It's a little more awesome. That's awesome. Thank you, Seven. Appreciate that. All right. Now, the other thing, and this one is from, let's see here. Okay. So that was from Seven, the book. This is from Emberly. Okay. So let me pull this out really quick. This guy's been sitting in the background here. And you probably saw him. This is a Borg, of course. Star Trek. Captain, when you were here, he was overlooking your shoulder.
Yeah.
Over here. So I pulled him out to put him over here in the background just because, hey, he's got to be, you can't really see him right there. Here, I'll pull him a little over there, but he's crowding, the Las Arena. Anyway, Emberly sent that out a while ago. And so Emberly sent this, which is, let's see here. Oh, next Star Trek, The Next Generation autographs are from Emberly. Okay. Wow.
Really?
So wow. Well, here, we got to open this. You ready for this one, Captain?
Totally.
This is kind of fun. I never open anything on the show. I've never been sent any kind of anything. This is kind of cool.
Nice.
Yeah. You remember mail? The little, the post person?
I still get mail every
person.
day. Yeah, we still get mail. Most of the time it's junk mail, but yeah, I still get like quarterly statements and stuff like that from investments and yeah.
I was going to say, I never get mail from people because nobody sends anything anymore. Okay, hold on. I don't want to rip anything. Oh, okay, it's tight. It's each. There's a lot of tape involved. Let's just put it that way. And I don't
rip any autographs.
That's what I was worried about. So, hey, I got to pull the tape off. Oh, let me share a story really quickly while I'm doing this. This tea that I'm drinking today, cool story. So, our favorite Happy Lucky's place. Yeah, cool story, bro. We decided to bike down there the other day. I wanted some tea instead of coffee. Mm-hmm. We get down there and we're talking to this person and, we're having a great conversation. She's super, super nice and everything. Her name's, shout out to Bethany, by the way. Thank you, Bethany. You're awesome. Really, you're awesome. And we were just chatting about some stuff. And all of a sudden, she's like, oh, well, I said something about we had George on the show and stuff like that. And she's like, wait, what show? And so I said, hey, it's the Real Brian Show. And so we were talking. And anyway, all that being said, there we go. She introduced me to something that I have to try, and I'm very excited. But here we go. I got it open. So the first thing here is, look at this. We were talking about Picard, Wil Wheaton.
Wil Wheaton.
So if you see right there, it's signed. That's awesome. And then, oh, wow. Marina Sirtis. There you go.
Nice.
Yeah.
Troy.
Troy. That's awesome. There you go. Thank you guys. Really appreciate that.
I was swooning over Wil Wheaton there for some reason.
I'm going to put it back there. Well, I appreciate that gift. That's awesome, dude. Yeah, Will. This tea that I'm drinking today is called Kheer. So it's Kheer. And it's a pu'er tea, which is a fermented tea.
Yeah. Is it Mongolian? Sounds Mongolian.
So it's called Kheer chai rice pudding is what it is.
Oh.
And if I smell it, okay, so when we go to, like Himalayan, get some Himalayan food, the Himalayan. Yeah. It smells like basmati rice, some kind of a really, Middle Eastern, Mediterranean style food kind of. Gosh, it smells amazing. Huh. Okay, but it is a sweeter in the sense of that it's got cinnamon chips and it's got cardamom and clove and stuff in there. No sugar. No sugar, just straight.
Huh. Yeah, whenever I go to an Indian restaurant that has a buffet, I always get the rice pudding for dessert. And it's so, and you put cinnamon in it, it's so amazing.
That is incredible, dude.
Yeah.
Let me explain what this is. And I don't know all the details. I need to learn how it grows, but There's a thing, gosh, I mean, I know a little bit of Mandarin, but I don't know how to pronounce this one. I think it's pronounced Nuo Mixiong. It's a rare plant that's indigenous to the tropical rainforest in the south of the Yunnan province in China on the Laotian border.
Oh, yeah.
And so
all the karst landscape down there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Big limestone.
It's a plant. And so when they crush the leaves, there's this basmati rice smell that comes from it. And so they get this, what they call, it's tuo-cha? Tuo-cha? T-U-O. I don't know how to pronounce it. Tuo-cha. Let's call it that. And so it's a plant that smells and tastes like rice, basmati rice. But it's actually, there's no rice involved at all. So they take that, and then what they'll do is they'll take pu'er leaves, and again, I don't know the whole details, but typically you dry leaves, the tea leaves, and that way and then they do their oxidation and everything else. So that's where you can get like white, green tea, all that.
Yeah.
The black tea, all that good stuff. With this, they keep them wet and then they pack them together, and then they'll stick this rice pudding tuo-cha kind of herb in there with it. And then the wet leaves will actually sit there and ferment. And some are aged 50 to 100 years. And so you're going to get that fermentation process. Yeah, it's crazy. And then they pack them in these little cakes, and then they wrap them up. And eventually they're dry, and then you open them up and you put these cakes into your tea, and then they open up like regular tea leaves. This, however, was not packed into a cake. It probably was originally. And then they break the cakes apart, and then they put in all the additional chai spices into this one. Oh, so they're already fermented, but they're loose leaf at this point now. But anyway, that's what I know. The pu'er is supposed to be really good for you. I don't know how much of the probiotic benefit you get from the fermentation. I don't know about that. I'd like to learn about that. But my gosh, dude, it's so smooth. It has zero bitterness. And like you take this drink and it's just like perfect. It's like the smoothest, roundest mouthfeel I think I've had from tea. And then the other one that I got, which we actually sampled, here's the cool story. I was asking about pu'er. All this time, I've never had pu'er tea in my life. And I've read about it and I've heard about it. And so she was bringing it up and I said, how do you do this? And she was showing me these little wrapped up, bird's nest cakes or whatever is what they looked like. And she said, let's experiment together. So dear Bethany says, follow me. And she comes over and she's showing me the brewing process and unwrapping it and sticking it in the tea and watching this cake just kind of spread out into leaves and everything. 30 seconds for the China sticky rice tuo-cha, which is the one that's, it's not the one I'm drinking. And she pours it, and, we get those little samples and I'm just like, wow, that's so good. It's like a really, really good, almost green tea flavor with that rice pudding kind of flavor as well. That's it. That's all that was in it. So good. Then she says, here, pours the rest out into a cup and says, enjoy, take it on the house, Really, really nice. And I just thought, oh my gosh. And so I said, well, I love this pu'er so much, and I wanted to try the Kheer chai as well. So that's what I'm trying for today for the first time. But anyway, there you go. So Happy Luckies. They have some of the best tea I've ever had in my entire life. I'm going to put a link to them in the show notes, by the way.
Okay. Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's not an affiliate, so nothing goes back to the show. Maybe I'll talk to George and be like, hey, George, can you help out the show a little bit? But either way, I want you to go check it out because it's
doesn't hurt to ask,
man. So thank you to 7BlueSeven, and thank you to Bethany and George from Happy Luckies. You guys are all amazing. I mean, honestly, you fuel the Real Brian Show. You all three do. So when Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness came out, we talked about going to see it. And unfortunately, a couple of my movie buddies have moved away out of state.
Yeah.
The other movie buddy, the other movie buddy that I typically would go with is still not 100% comfortable. And on top of that, is dealing with a little bit of a medical issue right now, which not fun. So he couldn't go either. And so then I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to reach out to some other people. I don't have a lot of movie buddies. And I don't know. I have a hard time going to a movie by myself. It's like, I'll just watch it at home then. I might as well just wait. Why would I spend the money to go to a movie by myself when I could just see it at home by myself, I like going to a movie with people. It's for the event. It's for the... Anyway.
Even though you can't talk to them during the movie.
No, but you do. You go...
before and after the movie.
But you go like, whoa, or that was really cool, or what did you... Oh,
it's the event, yeah.
Yeah, it's the experience before and after. And then, you're chatting about it after. I watch a movie in the middle of the night, and something, and I'm going to call you up and you're sleeping. Like, dude, what did you think? Oh, I haven't watched it yet. Oh. It's just not the same. I couldn't find anyone to go. I'm sorry. I feel like a loner right now. I don't have any friends. So
well, that's not true. We know that. But
I feel like
but I got
you
to
got to
see
see
Doctor
it, so-
Strange. Yeah.
Yeah, talk about it.
So I have a story. I don't have too much to say about the movie, just a few things, but I do have a story about going to the movie, which was interesting. So I took my movie buddy, my mother-in-law, my dear old mother-in-law. We went to see it last weekend, and we went to the theater that serves you food in the theater itself. So you get there a half hour early. While you're ordering food, you're watching like clips from other Doctor Strange stuff and
that's so
and all that. It's really not. They don't have commercials at this theater. It's fantastic.
Yeah, so that's what you were mentioning when we all went to go see the Batman movie.
Mm-hmm.
It was just nonstop commercials and crap and just stupid stuff that was going on.
Yeah,
you were just like, you kept complaining about it. And I was like, well, how else do they do it? And then you told us what they did at your theater. And I thought, yeah, we got screwed. Well, that's cool about you.
Yeah, so we got our food and they started the previews and then their projector took a dump.
Oh, no.
And so we're all like, we're waiting for maybe 10 minutes. And then they say, we're sorry, everybody. Our projector is broken. We have to move you to a theater number 2. So we all had to get up. And we were in a much bigger theater. So theater 2 is a much smaller theater.
Yeah, speaking like number 2 and taking it. I'm sorry.
Yeah. It was number 2 work for it. Luckily, the big theater we were in was not full. It was maybe half full. And, but the second theater was much fuller and people were trying to figure out where to sit and stuff. And people were taking each other's seats and we all figured it out. We all got seated and the movie started. Everything was fine. 5 minutes before the end of the movie, some knucklehead pulled the fire alarm at the mall.
Oh my gosh!
And so,
are you serious?
And so I missed the last 5 minutes. I did get to see the climax of the film, and
good.
I missed whatever dialogue they had at the very last few minutes, and then whatever end of credits scene they might have had. I missed that as well. So,
which I heard the end credit scenes were kind of important, but
okay, well,
don't know anything about them either.
I'll catch them when they come out on streaming. So I have to say, Brian, I went into this movie thinking it was going to be kind of a shallow continuation of the last Spider-Man movie.
Yep,
which
we talked about.
As you know, I did not like that much,
Mm-hmm.
or I didn't like as much as everyone else. Let's put it that way. But I was pleasantly surprised with this one.
Okay, good.
It was a very epic movie,
Nice.
much more epic than I thought it would be. A very good fit for the MCU, in my opinion. And just, I think the thing that I really appreciated the most about it was the sheer creativity that went into the creation of the other universes that they traveled through.
Interesting.
Like most of them, you only see them for just a second or two,
Mhm.
but just how creative they were and crazy and weird. That was, I thought that might be a little annoying. And I really did think this was just going to be a lot of eye candy, a lot of colors, a lot of purple. Neon purple is really huge in movies right now because it's eye candy. People like to watch it.
Look at our background.
Just a lot of that stuff, but no, there was some of that stuff, but there was also just a lot of sheer artistic creativity in this film. And I really appreciated that. It was really impressive. And there's lots of Scarlet Witch in the movie. And I loved that.
Nice.
She's one of the main characters in the film and it's wonderful.
Good.
And there's a lot of character development with her. So more character development. So I'd say it's possibly the best Doctor Strange movie, in my opinion. I really like the first one. So yeah,
nice,
I went away. I came out of that movie very happy. So
good. Well,
in spite of the adventure we had.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry to hear about the adventure, but I'm really glad to hear you like the movie because I wasn't excited about it. I mean, I was excited. How do I put this? I was going to see it and I was looking forward to it, but it wasn't like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to see it. It was kind of like,
Me too.
Another movie coming out. We'll see. We'll get to it eventually, but it wasn't like I got to get in line and anyway, but that makes me more excited to go see it. And when I actually make a friend, then I'll be able to go to a movie with someone.
When Brian finally makes a friend.
I need a friend.
Man.
Eventually. Well, I got to talk about Star Trek. Well, I guess you did see the first episode of Star Trek Strange New Worlds.
Yeah.
We're going to do a review on the first 2 episodes. If you're watching and listening to this episode as it comes out May 13th. Oh, it's Friday the 13th. Did you just realize it's Friday the 13th?
I'm not superstitious in the least.
I know you're not, but
so I don't care.
It's funny to mention, though. You know,
I know.
We should get our hockey masks on and our chainsaws.
Yeah,
out.
I just never think about it when Friday the 13th comes around. I just never think about it. So
well, anyway, there it is. Hi, happy Friday the 13th. So next, if you're watching or listening within time, next Tuesday, which will be May 17th, we're going to be doing our review on Star Trek: Strange New Worlds, the first 2 episodes. I've been kind of excited about this for the most part because I loved Captain Pike. I loved the character that they created in Discovery. I like Anson, the actor. It's one of those, like, honestly, that's to me been the best part of Discovery, period, was the Captain Pike storyline.
That was certainly, in my opinion, the best season of Discovery, hands down.
I would agree with that. Yeah, it really was. Season 2.
And it was pre-woke Discovery. So
sort of.
It wasn't quite as agendized. It wasn't quite as agendized yet. So
yeah, it was more like, let's just have Star Trek,
Yeah.
So I was excited, and they announced that. Well, it's been over 2 years ago that they announced that, and so I thought, well, it's going to come out eventually. And then I saw the preview for it, and I was a little concerned because they were showing some things, and I thought, okay, they might be going down that whole agenda path again. But
it's the same studios, CBS Studios, so
and same everybody, same showrunners. Yeah. So they're probably going to go somewhere with that. But I just thought, can we please just tell some cool Star Trek? But I'll tell you this: watching the first episode, immediately was like, okay, this is the Star Trek that we've been trying to get now since Discovery started. And I feel like maybe not the best episode, like that one episode, in Discovery where he goes back and he's on that, he's on the planet from the original episode, The Cage, the original TOS, the original series Cage episode. Right. And they kind of, that was a phenomenal episode. There have been some other really good episodes in season 2 of Discovery, and again, I've liked Picard. I've liked some of the stuff that Picard has done. And then there's been a lot that I, as haven't liked as much. So, watching this first episode, I'm starting off and I'm like, this feels like Star Trek again. It feels like they're telling a glorious story. They're going back to kind of the origin of things. I know it's a reimagining, and that's fine. You actually meet Uhura as a young person. I loved it. You've got Nurse Chapel comes in there, which that was interesting to me, but we're not going to talk about this today. We'll talk about it more in the review.
Right.
But I was to me, let's put it this way. There's a lot to love in the first episode. May not love it all, but there's a lot to love. And I love Rebecca Romijn as number 1. I just love her in general. I think she's awesome.
It's Rebecca Romijn.
Oh, that's how you pronounce it. I don't know how to pronounce
Romijn.
it.
I love
Romijn.
Rebecca Romijn.
Is it really Romaine?
That sounds like a
romaine
start.
lettuce?
Yeah, Rebecca Romijn.
Man, I didn't know that. After all these years,
that's
I've
how
been a
everyone's
big fan
always,
of her, and I've never. Wow, I appreciate you correcting me because
I like that you said Romijn.
I think Romijn's cooler. It just sounds like like, hello, I'm Rebecca Romijn, and I'm Rebecca Romijn. Doesn't that just sound cooler?
Klingon. She should have Klingon. Yeah.
Sorry, Rebecca.
No,
I feel bad.
She don't care.
No, she doesn't. She's like, I get it all the time. Rebecca Romijn. Sorry, I'm going with Romijn because it's a cool name.
I agree. Like Himalayan. Let's just do it.
Himalayan. Let's do it. All right. Well, anyway, I love Rebecca, Bex. We're going to call her that.
The Bexter.
Little Becky. She's awesome. And I've always been a fan of her as an actress anyway. So anyway, I'm excited to see where it goes. We'll see what happens. But what did you think overall?
I was happy with the first episode. I'm still just very nervous about where the season's going to go because CBS is running it and they're on that whole trend that Hollywood's on right now. And it's just annoying. So I don't have the highest hopes for this season because of who the showrunners are, but I did enjoy the first episode and I got my fingers crossed. Let's put it that way.
Well, good. I think I'm in the same boat. I'm cautiously hopeful.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not even optimistic about it really because you're right. It's the same people that have kind of they've destroyed Discovery. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, and they kind of have.
They've kind of they wrote some Picard episodes that just weren't as good as they should have been too. So
right, especially the end.
Yeah. I still to this day have not gotten past episode 2 of season 4 of Discovery. I watched the first 2 episodes and was just like, I am bored. I don't like this.
I've been trudging through it. I've still got a couple episodes left in the season, but I've been making it through. So it's not horrible. It's not the worst Star Trek I've ever seen, but
it's better than Star Trek 5. No, it's not. Star Trek 5 is better than season 4 of Discovery for sure.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah.
That's quite a statement.
It is. At least Star Trek 5 has some charm and character in like acting ability. And I'm sorry, that was mean. All right, let's.
We don't do mean on the Real Brian Show.
I'm totally kidding, actually. Well, I'm kind of kidding, actually, because honestly, the acting in Discovery is, I think, mostly fine. I don't think it's really the actors as much as it's the direction of the show. And
yeah, it's the writing, really. It's really the writing. It's all about the writing.
It is. Yeah, we're going to go with that. Dude, you know what it's time for? It's time to end the show. Well, thanks for joining us today.
We're done.
No, I'm totally kidding. Actually, I think it's time for an origin because one came in from the Wraith. Is that correct?
Yeah. So a while back, several months ago, the Wraith sent us both an email, or sent you an email that you forwarded to me, of a whole list of origins that he wanted me to go through. And so when I don't have an origin, I kind of go to that email and say, okay, which ones? So I kind of go down his list and go, and I start with one and I start to research it. And I'm like, no, that won't work. That either the origin is not interesting enough or it's just too short, and then I'll just go to the next one. And anyway, the one I picked from his list this week was Silver Lining.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Like every cloud has a silver lining.
Yeah.
So thank you, Mark the Wraith, for your list, first of all. And I will continue to use that list. But so silver lining. So the proverbial saying, it is considered a proverb, every cloud has a silver lining, is used to convey the notion that no matter how bad a situation might seem, there's always some good aspect to it. And I often personally, I have that I try to keep that attitude, like I try to look for the silver lining in things.
You really do. Even though you say sometimes you can be a little bit, what's the word, pessimistic, cynical at times, that kind of thing too, but you do actually have a silver lining more than I think you realize you do.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I look for it more than I maybe think I do. Yeah. So I'm guessing that the silver lining may refer to the visual phenomenon when a cloud's in front of the sun. There's often a silver outline around the edge of the cloud where the sun is reflecting,
Yeah.
So, and I think that's where where the phrase kind of the proto originated. But
would it go back to remember that 1929 song that I talked about last year when Jupiter's Legacy came out on Netflix, and I loved the show, and I was like painting the clouds with sunshine, and it was this beautiful, beautiful, deep, profound song about basically overcoming the Great Depression in 1929. And it was just this wonderful song. You know what? I'm going to link it. I'm going to link it in the description of the YouTube channel because it is actual. You cannot find the song anywhere, by the way. I found it on YouTube. The version that I like, I found on YouTube. So I'm going to link that if you want to go listen to it. But it's from 1929. It was one of the top hits of the year. But I wonder if it kind of goes along with it because it is talking about that. It didn't say silver lining, but it talks about painting the clouds with sunshine and that positive outlook, regardless of how bad things are. So anyway, continue.
Well, we'll see. We'll see where it comes from. So this expression is usually said as an encouragement to a person who is overcome by some difficulty and is unable to see any positive way forward. By the way, I forgot to mention, I got this from phrases.org.uk.
Awesome.
Which I've referenced before on other stuff. It is a classic of the Victorian despair not, quote, strive for better things sentiment. John Milton, the poet, coined the phrase silver lining in his poem Comus, a masque presented at the Ludlow Castle in 1634. And I'm going to read you some poetry, Brian.
Ooh.
So control yourself, do not swoon. I see ye visibly and now believe that he, the supreme good, to whom all things ill are but as slavish officers of vengeance, would send a glistening guardian, if need were, to keep my life and honor unassailed. Was I deceived, or did a sable cloud turn forth her silver lining on the night? I did not err. There does a sable cloud turn forth her silver lining on the night, and casts a gleam over this tufted grove. I've never read poetry before, Brian. That's interesting.
Well, I don't know about all of you listening and watching, but I'm pretty turned on right now.
It's the beard. It's got to be. So clouds and silver linings were referred to often in literature from then onward. So Milton was the first one to coin the phrase. Usually they cited Milton and frequently referred to them as, quote, Milton's clouds. I didn't know that. It isn't until the days. I didn't know any of this. It isn't until the days of the uplifting language of the Victoria's England that we begin to hear a version of the proverbial form that we are now familiar with, except the form of the proverb that was usually expressed in the Victorian era was, quote, there's a silver lining to every cloud. So it's backwards. The currently used, quote, every cloud has a silver lining first appeared in a literary review in 1849 as a misprint of the Victorian version of the phrase. And then this misprint version of the proverb very quickly gained public acceptance. It appears very frequently in newspapers on both sides of the Atlantic from 1853 onward.
Okay.
This was undoubtedly due to the work of the American writer Sarah Peyton Parton.
That's a hard one to say.
Like an old relative of Dolly.
I was just going to say Dolly's great-great-grandmother or something like that.
Maybe. She had been commissioned by the editor of the Home Journal magazine to write a weekly motivational essay on various topics under the pen name of Fanny Fern. That sounds like a very old, early 20th century pen name, right? Fanny Fern. These became very popular, and Parton soon became the highest paid writer in the United States.
Wow. Huh.
Yeah. A more recent proverb, which expresses the same idea, is, quote, "The darkest hour is just before the dawn." So,
yeah. Fascinating.
There you go. Yeah.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah. Well, and I should say, by the way, that poetry doesn't do it for me. And I've never been into poetry. It's so funny. Whenever
me neither.
I like Jeopardy a lot, and we love it. And we're actually finding, I don't know if it's getting easier or if we're just getting smarter. I'm not entirely sure. It's probably getting easier. I doubt we're getting smarter. But
yeah, I hope not easier. That'd be awful.
When the poetry categories come up, though, I'm just like, I had to read poetry in high school and stuff, and I was just like, I don't get it. I just don't. It just isn't me. So I appreciate you reading it. You did a nice job reading it, by the way.
Well, thank you. Back in high school, I appreciated poetry somewhat in English class when we were forced to read it, and I do mean forced, because it would never occur to me to read poetry otherwise. I'm just not. It's not my thing.
Yeah.
And most of the time,
though.
Yeah, I do appreciate the art behind it, but for most of the time, it just feels a little pretentious to me. I don't know why. That's how I feel. So,
well, it's like that guy in Final Fantasy 14, that Urianger that we call Granger.
Granger,
he doth speak like this, and
all the time.
Yeah, he's speaking in old Shakespearean English constantly, and it's just like, will he shut up now? But some people, okay. Again, this is just us. Some people absolutely love poetry, and nothing against it. It's just like you said, it's not for me. It's kind of like country music isn't for me. Nothing against country music. Yeah,
that's right.
Well, I appreciate that. Well, I'm just going to share something kind of briefly here because I thought this was kind of cool, and really it's a short story, but there's a local organization here, by the way, in Colorado that I think it's kind of cool. They're actually teaching children essentially, and also families. But so let me take a step back. Their mission is to inspire philanthropy. I can't even say it, man. Oh my gosh, let's try it again.
Philanthropy. Hey, Himalayan philanthropy.
Ramjin. This is a great. Okay, so we've got mispronunciations. We're going to go Ramjin, philanthropy, and Himalayan. There we go.
I like it.
Let me try it again. Their mission is to inspire philanthropy in children and their families by celebrating, learning, and connecting through kindness. So first of all, what an amazing mission. And what they're trying to do, by the way, is they're trying to find ways for families to give back in ways that are simple. Because I think a lot of times people say, well, my gosh, I don't have this kind of time, or, I could never do something like that. It's so big, so they're trying to find really stupidly simple ways to give back, but that also are actually really helpful and impactful. And then
a lot of people who would be philanthropic or philanthropic. They'd like to, and they have the resources, but they just don't have the best idea of how to approach it. So an organization like this would give them kind of a foundation to pursue that sort of thing.
Yeah. So what you're trying to say is don't be a philanthropic, be a philanthropic.
Don't be philanthropic, be philanthropic. Yes.
I like what you're saying, and you are right that it is hard to figure out some things, and sometimes you say, what kind of a difference could I actually make? I'm just one person sort of thing too.
Right.
But I like it because they're finding that people actually have already been doing really amazing things at grassroots levels. And so what they're trying to do is they created this kindness expo. And so it's celebrating kindness, and then it's basically bringing people together to, once again, it's teaching children first and families. And this is what I like, though. They're teaching the families and the children at the same time, in the sense that the children are learning how to be kind, how to be philanthropic, and how to actually learn how to give and what giving means and how impactful it actually can be and stuff like that at a young age. But then they're also teaching families how to continue to enforce that in their children so that their children grow up to be kinder and more I can't even say it now. Philanthropic.
Yeah.
There we go.
No, we want to say philanthropic.
Yeah. Don't be a philanthropic, whatever.
That's a great idea
really
because neat. A knee-jerk reaction to hearing about something like that, a kindness expo, would be kind of, that sounds kind of corny or lame, but
it does, yeah.
But if you think about it, the world needs more of that stuff and all sorts and all communities. I mean, why not? Why not have an expo just to show people how they can, just to show people, guide them into how to be more philanthropic and to help their communities out easier. I mean, if people if people pursue ideas at something like this, it might make it very easy for them to be kinder to their community and stuff like that. So yeah.
And that's what I like, is that they're starting it locally and trying to inspire it forward so that it grows out into other communities and then eventually across the US and then into other countries and so on. But yeah, I love that they're not just doing something. I like that they're instilling this philanthropic mindset and kindness mindset in children and in families too, so that it needs to be in our younger generation. I mean, it really does, because it's amazing to me. In the most unseemly places that you think are safe from people's anger, political and belief attacks, let's call it that, because that's really what they are. You get attacked. I'm in a safe place. I mean, and all of a sudden somebody just says something, or why is everybody so angry right now and so negative and so hateful? And then I find it ironic that people will say, well, like, I've been beaten down and I haven't felt safe, which that's very true, right? That's a real thing right now. But then after they're done saying that I've not felt safe and I've been beaten down, then they turn around and bash the person or the people group that did that to them. And it's like, that's not going to win you any friends either.
That's a slapping contest.
You can't do it. You have to say, I've been beaten down. I haven't had a safe place. May I have one? Period. Stop. And then let it go. And don't be bitter and don't attack someone, because as soon as you start attacking someone, then it's not going to be a safe place anymore, because you picked a fight. So it's funny. And I'm watching the NBA the tournament right now, the playoffs and stuff. And of course I love my Phoenix Suns. It's amazing to me though, how at the end of game 5, there's just all these like emotions, and then they just start like jawing on each other, and then they're ready to fight. And you're just like, and the fans are getting angry at the players too.
Of course.
And I'm just like,
it's an emotionally charged sport.
It is, but it's not going to win you friends. So. It's just, you pick a fight, someone's going to follow through and they're going to join you, So I love this idea about spreading kindness, because right now that's what we need. That's what the world needs more than anything else, is kindness, regardless of whether you agree with someone else or not. There's clearly some things going on right now where people are very divided, and that's okay. It's good that people are divided. We need people on both sides so that we can kind of go, well, this side has a good point and this side has a good point. Let's find a mutually agreeable place. But beyond all of that must come kindness and respect and valuing each other, because that's not what's happening. And that's what I want more than anything else right now. And so I'm glad that someone else is doing it.
You're right. It sounds cliche to say that the world needs more kindness. I mean, how many centuries have people been saying that, or some version of that? But right now, it's more true than ever. The world is. When I look at the news, and I'm almost to the point where I don't want to look at the news anymore. I'm almost to that point finally. Yeah. Where I just don't want to, except for Good News Network or something like that. But to look at the mainstream news right now is, there's so much bad things happening, or at least that's what they would like you to think, or at least whatever it is. There's a lot of negative stuff, a lot of negative forces out there right now. And I think it's really affecting society as a whole, all over the world.
It is. So,
it's things like this Kindness Expo, you can't go wrong. And I really hope that, number one, they succeed, and number two, that their example is followed elsewhere.
Mm-hmm. I was having an interesting thought actually this whole week, and I got to thinking that, when I was younger and stuff, and even in college, like it wasn't even when I was a kid, but when you're a kid and you're in high school and college, of course you've got your issues, you've got your troubles, Sometimes the biggest stress is getting through finals week, and I'm like, man, if that's all the stress I had as an adult, holy cow, that'd be easy. But in the moment, that's the most stressful thing, and so I get it. But I'll tell you, it's thinking back though, I got that. I mean, like, why was granted, I had a good family life, and not everybody has had that. So that's a blessing that I'm very thankful for.
Very true. Yeah.
But I think about too that, in general, regardless of the troubles and the negative things that happen, I just felt like things were fine. Like, yes, there were bad things going on in the world. I mean, 9/11 happened not too long after college for me. I was right out of college, actually. There were bad things that were going on back then too, but for whatever reason, I didn't worry about it as much. It's like I wasn't as affected by it. And so I got to thinking, well, is that because there was less going on? I don't think so. Now, granted, there was less. What's the word? We were being bombarded less with information. We didn't have social media. We didn't have, the abundance of the internet that we have. It was there. We had the internet, but it wasn't in our face all the time.
You didn't have quite the polarization politically that you did back then that you do now. So,
yeah, well, you did.
There was polarization, especially after the Clinton administration and then into the Bush administration after that. There was division, but it pales in comparison to now. It really does.
Yeah, I mean, there's been stuff going on. I mean, since before we were born into, as far as division and stuff, and obviously
there always has been. Yeah, no,
But I think we just knew less because there was less information available to us. And so I think that's part of it. But then the other thing too is, talking about painting the clouds with sunshine. By the way, I love 1920s music. So that, and it's like almost 1930s, but it's kind of weird that I love all these generations. I would strongly, strongly encourage you to listen to this song, whether you like the 20s music or not. It's such a cheery and yet it's such a good perspective, but it's a wonderful song. Click on it. It'll be, like I said, it'll be in the description below in the YouTube channel. I won't put it in the show notes for the podcast, so you'll have to go to the YouTube channel to get it just because it's on YouTube. So check it out, though, because thinking about that, looking outside right now, the grass is finally green, plants, flowers, leaves are blooming, and I just get to thinking there's so much stuff going on, and thank God we live in a country that is relatively safe for the most part right now.
For now, yeah.
And I think of... Well, hopefully
everything's for now to me.
well, everything is for now because we only have right now. So
exactly.
And we have good freedoms here, and things aren't great. Things are challenging. We've got our own sets of challenges, and everybody does. But I just keep going. Like, if I live in the moment and I don't worry about what's going on, and I just kind of think, hey, look, everything's fine. It's okay. We're just doing our thing. We're living right now. We don't know what's going to happen. We can worry about what might happen, but it may never come to pass either. And so we do the best with what we have in this moment. And again, it goes back to like choosing positivity, looking for that silver lining, as you said, painting the clouds with sunshine. It's just like, we got to look at what we have that's beautiful and good in our lives, whatever that may be. And we have to focus on those things, and we have to try to just let the rest go for now. Do our part. Whatever we can do our part, and then let the rest go. But I wish people would just hear this, because no matter how much I say it, everywhere I look and everyone I know is not taking this to heart. And then they go and they're just, man, I'm like, what the heck is going on, everybody? Stop and just relax.
No, but we can relate to that. Of course you and we all struggle with that. We've talked about this before. We all struggle with seeing the obvious good in our lives, because the negative, whether it's in our lives or external or whatever, it's so, when things are going good, everything you don't notice, but when you stub your toe, ow, it hurts. If you're walking along, you're just walking along, but it's the bad thing that happens that gets your attention. And so,
but I feel like we're able to, mostly bounce back pretty quickly because of what we've learned and what we're experiencing and trying to talk about here, and part of the reason we talk about it is because we need to tell ourselves this.
Exactly. Yeah.
But I feel like a lot of other people don't bounce back fast enough. And it's just like, I really, truly hope that our show does have substance for you and does, because I feel like we deliver substance every single week. I just hope it's heard, but I also want it to be fun. And, we do nerd out about random things too, because that's kind of the whole point. Life needs to be a balance of fun and meaningful.
Yeah. I like it.
Okay, one thing, speaking of fun stuff, I have one quick song to share, and this is courtesy of the Mad Scientist. Thank you, by the way. He was like, we were chatting about music and stuff, and he said, well, have you ever heard of Marina? And I said, nope. And he said, check out Handmade Heaven. Handmade Heaven. There you go. By Marina. Fantastic. So I
Put it
will
on the
link
mix.
that. Yeah, I'll make sure it's in the list. I'll make sure it's in the actual Spotify list. It'll be linked and everything. Check it out.
Deep Thoughts with Captain Influence.
The last time I told someone that every cloud has a silver lining, they tickled me till I peed myself and replied, "Now your pants have a golden lining. Upgrade."
Well, you know what the music means.
I do.
Actually,
more and
I'm going
more.
to the bathroom now. Thanks a lot.
I've been holding it for the whole time.
The whole time, yeah.
You see me dancing?
Yeah. Well, hey, don't forget to join us for all of our other beautiful, beautiful episodes that are happening. Go to the YouTube channel, subscribe there, everything. All the descriptions in the description below on YouTube and in the show notes for The Real Brian Show podcast. Have a great rest of your week. We're signing off.
The Real Brian Show is a production of 514 Media at 514mediaempire.com.